special in-flight entertainment with the trade review led by your service captain, William Adog. William Adog will be leading this. I just wanted to point out there are emergency exits on every side of the trading platform, so please be attentive to the emergency exits. There is no smoking in the trade room, and we hope you review your flight. So I'll now turn you over to our service manager, William Adog. Thanks a lot from the flight deck.
Oh man, I wanted to be the captain. Thank you, Peter. We are going to get straight into this since we had a 20-minute delay. Yes, last Tuesday. I missed Peter's exit, so maybe I'll see his exit rap battle today if he wants to share it again. But let's get straight.
Oh my good lord! So sorry. Well, you actually missed that. We were talking about you, whether you actually had a chance to see it. Well, then absolutely, we will have to play it for you at the end.
Let's do it, man. I actually missed it. So we're live on YouTube now, and we'll definitely just get straight into this. So please, everyone, submit any trades you have to the off topic, and we'll start to look at all of them together. And how'd everyone do today? Just overall, people feeling good? Yeah, Peter?
Oh, sorry, I was just firing up the YouTubes, and you heard your own voice.
Oh,
Yeah, look, I had actually a good morning and then a frustrating midday because I was in a bunch of trades that I got stopped out on right before the nice big dump that you may notice happened right at noon market time. It sort of dropped right back to VWAP, brought a bunch of stuff with it, and there was 3 different trades that I was in that I got stopped out right before that, including what it felt like a little bit of a crazy trade on Apple, but it ended up it would have worked out for $1 for me. But so anyways. So be it, right? I know that. Kurt has had a good trade. He's been in all day, and he's still holding on Delta Airlines, which is what brought the theme to mind for your introduction today. He's been in that trade since about 10 a.m. and still holding long.
Heck yeah, that's Kurt's style. Finding a trend, get in it, add in, or he exits out, then he adds in when different things line up, and he just lets the trend go until the trend breaks. Awesome. Glad he's killing it like that.
I will comment that Oliver says he's an airline pilot, and he thought my introduction was absolutely terrible. So I apologize then if I insulted any airline. No airline pilots were intended to be hurt in the creation of this introduction.
Well, maybe we just need to let Oliver show us how it's done one day, and let him give us the proper send-off. Peter, what do you think about that?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I'll always learn from a professional.
All right, guys, so let's get into this. And I will make a recap today, and I'll give people what they want. It'll be a red day recap, and it's my best red day I think I ever had in terms of didn't have a single emotion around it. Made trades that I was happy with. Did everything right with my rules. I got stopped out to the penny. To the very penny. And then it went and hit my target. I'll explain and share it all. So it's pretty fun stuff. But I feel great.
That sounds like an emotion.
Yeah?
So that sounds like an emotion to me.
No, it wasn't. I didn't see it happen, Peter. I came back and saw the charts after it happened. It stopped me out. So I wasn't there to get emotional about it. So I was thrilled. Not a single bad emotion like that today. So it was good stuff.
Excellent then. Well done.
Yep. And over 3 trades, I had a 1R loser total. So it's definitely a losing day, but it's small and it was unemotional. And I'll get into it in my recap because it was a great and amazing feeling. You right, Ann? All right, Ann, well, let's get straight into this. I think you named this on the off topic. Did you call it the Rising Devil? Let me make sure if I read that right. Rising Devil. Okay. XORB short. Rising Devil. Okay. Well, we need to see the daily chart for the Rising Devil, I think, Ann. But that's okay. So a 5-minute... Oh, let me get Epic Pen. Oh, Seth, I'm learning. I'm feeling good. I'll explain it all in the recap. But let's see this. Alright, so setup A+, 5-minute orb. Stop loss a little above the VWAP. Profit target 200 MA, 2 to 1. Saw the Rising Devil on the 1, but I have not practiced it. I take a 5-minute orb until I build more confidence and experience. All right. Let's see the 5-minute. Okay, so, and this is the 5-minute chart on X. 9:30. You got a killer pullback here, which turned out to be an amazing entry. But how is this a 5-minute orb, man? Tell me what you're seeing here for a 5-minute orb. I see the pullback. I love that. I see that you're at resistance. I love that. But at this moment, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This candle was looking like this on the 5-minute. So, and so at the moment you got it, this candle would have been white, looking like that. What's a Momo trade? Momentum. Okay, well, just be careful. Be very, very aware when you look back and you journal about, because this is not a 5-minute ORB. And this might be an A+ setup, but it is not an A+ 5-minute setup. Unless you could tell me that you saw it come down here within your setup, you're waiting for the pullback because you're seeing other indicators, but it's above VWAP. You had increasing volume. So, I mean, and it worked out. And whatever you are seeing, it was killer. You just need to identify what it is you saw that made this work out so nice for you, so you can identify it again and not be confused that this was a 5-minute ORB A+ setup, because from what I'm seeing, it's just not. Right, so I love it. You wait for the pullback, you took it short, your stop was probably 10 cents, or I don't know, where was it? Somewhere up here in this range. And then you targeted out how you wanted to with a 2-to-1. So a lot of great stuff in there, and just make sure you identify the setup correctly so you can rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Do the same thing over and over and over again when you find your great setup. All right, BBBY. Well, there is the norm. I just always call this the norm long. I'd have to see the daily chart to really understand. Was BBBY a gap up? Who is this? This is Bo. Are you here, buddy? And okay, so BBBY is a gap up. So this, with only seeing the 1-minute chart in a gap, I'm gonna call this the norm long, which he's amazing at. All right, Bo. So what are you doing here? Long here. Profit all the way up. Sweet. Can't really do much analysis other than that without the other charts. So you got to tell us, man, what are you doing here? Got it, Seth. Yeah, Bo, ask away, buddy. So, no, I mean, I can't say you should have done anything. What you, except for this. Ideally, we want to go into a setup. Okay, Bo. So what is your setup here? Let's start with there. What's your setup? And if it's just price action, that's totally fine too. But what's your setup here? Okay, price action. So within the price action setup, it's really hard to figure out exactly what to do in the moment because you don't have a set of rules and you're going to be trading by the seat of your pants. Is that a bad thing? No. You can be amazing at that. But within that style, it's incredibly hard to make snap decision when you think you want a partial whether you should, instead of partialing, add in more or not, because that is a split-second decision that has nothing to do based on with any rules that you studied for. It's just your intuition and reading the charts live, because you're not saying this is my level, this is my stop. Okay, now this is my play here. It's breaking over this point. Instead of partialing out, I should add. You're just doing everything kind of moment by moment, which is what you're doing here. When you partial out 3 times in the next 30 seconds, that's a moment by moment play here. Really, 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 really hard to make snap decisions to add in. And if you do it 1 time, if you add in once right here and it dumps on you, I pretty much guarantee you're going to have a nearly impossible time adding in the next day or week or maybe even a month. Bo, are you successful with this style? Are you a successful trader with trading like this? Okay, then I don't think so. What was your question? So what can I do differently not to partial out? Well, I think one thing that has helped me, that has helped a lot of other traders and many people I've talked to in the past, is if, like Norm does this, I know. I actually talked with him about it. He sometimes partials out very small at 10% partials. So what percent partials are these, Bo? You have 3 exits here. What percent? Is it 1/4 or so? Between these 3, did you get out, say, 40 or 50% of your shares? Okay, so between these 3, let's just say you're out 50%, right? So if you can keep that to, say, 10%, 10%, 10%, 30%, and then you can try to let more run, which you kind of did a little bit, but if this was only 30%, this would be a lot bigger in terms of your profiting. And once you partial out once, twice, or 3 times to calm your nerves and lock in some profits, you can just put in a stop order and take your hands away. And I am learning that and accept it if it happens, right, Bo? Bo, so yesterday, oh, it's so frustrating, but I'm not emotional, but it's frustrating. Yesterday, I had 3 trades, and on 2 of the trades, I raised my stop from my original stop after the move went in my favor, but I never partialed out. And it stopped me out on both of those trades, and then it made a huge move without me. Today, I was like, all right, I'm not breaking a single gosh darn rule, and I didn't. And I respected all of my stops and rules, and then one time it stopped me out to the penny. So each time I did something and the outcome that I didn't want to happen happened, and I kind of flip-flopped on my choice of things about what I would do, and it just reminded me, all right, I have to do the same thing every single time and accept it when I'm wrong, because when I'm right and I see it all the time, the moves are huge when they go in my favor. The market's definitely not out to get me, but Bo, that's what I would say. If you want to consider doing it, take small partials of 10, 20, 30%, try to put your stop, a hard stop in the market, and then don't micromanage it. Let it be. Let it be. Now, with all that being said, man, if you're killing it with the strategy and you're exiting out with your intuition and you're getting moves like this, I mean, heck, I wouldn't change it if it was broken. The only thing you could say if you want to lock in more profit, simply do the exact same thing, but reduce your partials. Change your hotkey, or instead of hitting it 3 times, hit it twice. But overall, man, I love it. It's a really fantastic trade. And Ann, and then Peter, I think you got something, but Ann, is this a 5-minute ORB? He definitely did not play this as a 5-minute ORB, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this candle would have been like this, and if you play the break of the body or the break of the wick, you could then play that as a 5-minute ORB, and in this specific case, it wouldn't have worked out, at least for here. Maybe it continued to run, but there's a 5-minute ORB play if you wanted to do that. What's up, Peter?
I just wanted to support what you're saying, and Bo, maybe give you a way to look at it, because I have struggled with this mightily about taking partials way too early, and I still struggle with it to this day. And I'm several years into my trading journey here. What I had to realize for myself was that to what you're saying, Bo, I am terrified of turning a winner into a loser. And that's why I ended up taking a partials too quickly, right? I just hate that feeling of something was green and then suddenly I'm going to hit a loser. And if you don't take any partials, then you could be up. Let's say you're up at 1.5R, but your target is to not take a partial until 2, and then it drops, right? That to me, that's a worse feeling than the thing just going directly against you. If it goes directly against you, there's nothing you can do. It was red the whole time, whatever, right? Screw it. So here's one of the ways I think of it. Hopefully this helps for you. So if I see you took a partial, you've got 2 entries, it looks like, and you took a partial at, let's call it 12.10 for maybe what, like a net 15-cent gain or something. I think similar, it is a little bit of fear of being wrong. It's, Mark Douglas would talk about that a lot in, his about you really, maybe I've just never really accepted the loss, the risk of taking this trade, but I can't get it out of my head. So yeah, your second entry is adding to it, Bo, I get that. And then you took the first partial at 12.10, which net, because your new average price would have been about $11.95. So let's say you took a 15-cent partial on the first one, right? Anyways, the thought process I want to give you is this: take a small enough partial that what you could do would allow yourself to say, look, I am now going to move my stop either to break even or slightly below break even, but put yourself as early as possible into a position where it's a no risk trade. So, for example, if you took a 20% partial there at 15 cents, that means you've got 80% of your trade left, which means that you could allow this to go. I have to do the math here. 4 times divided by 15. So let's call it like 3 cents, right? The average down. You can let it go 3 cents past your current break-even point, and it's still a no-risk trade. You wouldn't lose any money. And but if it goes, you still have 80% of your shares to get up to 2 to 1, 3 to 1, whatever your target is. I found that doing something like that mentally helps me hold, because I know as soon as I take that partial, okay, I can follow my rule. Essentially, I'm going to get a break even, or I can let myself go maybe 1 or 2 cents past break even, because if it goes past that point, it's likely going to fail anyways. And then you know what? It wasn't meant to be. I never would have got my profit. So who cares, right? Who cares if I took 50% or 20%? But the lower partial allows me to maximize the return on my trades that much better. And it really eases my mind to say, well, now I can sort of sit back and watch, because I've taken a partial. This is a zero risk trade at this point, even if I've only taken a 20% partial. Zero risk. I'm not playing with my money. I'm playing with house money. But yeah, the key is to take a lower partial, because you want to have as much as possible left for later on. But I need to take a big enough partial that I can sort of get my mind at ease that I am in a zero risk position at this point. So if that helps, if that type of approach helps, if your concern is, I don't want to turn the winner into a loser, and I just, I'm afraid of it dumping against me, that first partial for me now, it is like, I even know, I can tell you right now, I can tell you it's a placebo, but even so, it still works, which I always find amazing, right? It's like people that say, I know I'm neurotic, but they can't change it. They're still neurotic. Well, trading's a lot like that, right? You may know you act in a rational way, but it doesn't mean you can change the way you're acting. So the way I fix it is doing just that. So think about that, and it might help you. It might just ease, calm you down to say, okay, I'm good. This is a no-risk trade now. Whatever happens will happen. And as William said, whether you set a hard stop or you do it manually, it just allows you to write it out properly. So anyways, hopefully that's helpful. Back to you, on.
Yeah, man. Hold on one sec.
No worries. Yeah, 25% though is fine. If you're taking 25%, like again, there's no right or wrong number or answer here, right? Do whatever you need to be comfortable. Hell, if you can take a 5% and be comfortable with that, then do that. If you just need to take something, just to say, look, I've covered my commissions, right? Take a 5% partial, say, look, I've covered my commissions now, and if it goes back to break even, so be it. Then I'm out. Like, I personally, I think there's validity in doing that as well. Just be aware that the more rigid you are at moving your stop to break even as soon as it's green, the more often you're going to be stopped out. So, there's always these trade-offs to consider. But like William said, if it's working for you, don't try and change too much, right? Just tweak the knob a little bit. Slightly lower partial, wait an extra few seconds, like one of these things, tweak the knob, and when you get comfortable with that, tweak it a little more.
All right,
I picked the same trade, by the way, this morning, and like I said, I didn't talk about it because Carlos and Norm, I can't remember both of them. I know Carlos was trading this, and I didn't want to sort of interrupt his trade because he unfortunately took it higher up and then got stopped out. And I thought, I'm just going to ride this and see what happens. But being in so early, I got in at almost exactly 12. I think it was 12:01. I took a partial up where you have that moving average of the line you had there. So I think I got 25 cents on my first one, and then I was able to just sit back. I think my next partial was at 12.70 or something. So, anyways, it works.
So on another note, just for Bo to see this from a slightly different angle, also, what's just something crystal clear in this chart, traders, that you see on his one chart that he sent us? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he loved that when he got into it, or I don't know if he did, but fantastic. But what else? Right, Nigel? So Bo, and volume, yeah, that volume was huge. It broke out over the, I don't know if this is the high of pre-market at all, no idea, but at least it's the high right here. But Bo, and I have no idea if it was harmonious, Seth, right? No idea. I'm only looking at one chart. No new 1 minute low. No new. Right there's your first 1 minute low. So Bo, did you see it or not? Or do you even care about that stuff? Let me put it that way. Did you see it, and do you care even if you saw it? Right, Bo. So here's the thing, Bo. And to anyone else who's listening, you can kill it off the 1 minute. But if you trade off the 1 minute price action, I will also guarantee you're blinding yourself to things that are staring at you in front of your face every single time. And it's not because you're stupid or you're slow or anything like that. It's because you're so focused on one gosh darn thing that's flickering up and down, and all of your attention is riding on every tick. It's really hard to see the big picture. Do you need to see the big picture to be a successful trader? No, right? Look at this trade, killer trade idea. But if you want to improve on this, it's very, very difficult to make those changes without kind of calming yourself in one way or another. And exactly what Peter says, take less. I mean, we both said the same thing. But once you get your stop in the market, you can then take a breath for a quick second, sit back, and you can kind of analyze it from a different perspective because you know it can't turn into a loser, and thus you can breathe and try to see the bigger picture. Yep, so thanks for sharing, Bo, and overall, man, great trade. Hey, Peter, since you mentioned you're following YouTube, can you catch up on whatever they said after I commented a couple times?
Yep, on it.
Yep, Seth. So my next thing is I'm definitely going to start putting in range hotkeys. That's my next step. Especially after yesterday. Oof, that got to me yesterday. So range hotkeys. And I'll make a video for everyone. It's going to be pretty simple and quick. Okay, so whose trade is this? Alright, we're going to pick up the pace a little bit now because we got more than a couple actually. So, Lucas, do you want, only because we just took 30 minutes, we just took half on 2 trades. So, we're going to go fast. Lucas, you want Roku or ATVI? And someone do us a huge favor and time me. Give me 5 minutes per trade and then we're good, I think. Whoever that is, thank you. Roku then. Perfect. Okay, we got the 1, the 2, the 5, the 15, and the daily. Roku formed a bottom with the following indicators. Let me zoom out. Okay, let's get in the right spot. At low of pre-market as a support level. Well, I can't see the pre-market, so I'm going to trust you. At the 200 on the 5. All right. Hammer doji on the 5. All right. 3 higher highs. All right. Got in with a stop at 115.87. Was that the break of this low? Because I won't be able to see it. 115.87. Yeah, was it the break of the low? Below. Okay, was it the low, below the low, or higher than the low? Okay, slightly below the bottom. All right, so when you do that, Lucas, how long have you been trading? And first of all, I like the setup, man. It's a great idea. I really like it. But how long have you been trading? Okay, so what happens, traders, when you put your stop underneath the low of a hammer at low of day? What happens if you get stopped out? There is a guaranteed slippage, especially on a stock like Roku. So when you make your risk to reward, if you're really smart and if you're really playing risk to reward, and if you go under the wick, you got to plan on 10 to 20 cents minimum slippage on Roku. You might get lucky and maybe you won't get slippage. And you might get unlucky and you get 50 cents of slippage. And that wouldn't be rare on something like Roku if it stops you out on that setup. So just be aware of that, Lucas. Partialed at the daily support level in the VWAP, which it tested but failed. Exited completely eventually. Unfortunately, Rise PNL 1.5, even though it should have been a 2R trade. What percent did you get out on this exit right here? $25. No, 25 is not. So you got out 25% here and 75% here. Is that right? Seth, tell me, is that a question for me or are you making a statement? I'm trying to follow Lucas and read that at the same time. I can't multitask that well. Okay, so this is your... Oh, okay. Did you get out on did you enter in on hotkeys and get out on hotkeys, Lucas? Okay, what was the spread when you got in? Got it, Seth. Got it. Who knows what the spread would have been around this time? What's the spread? You can't. I mean, you'd have to go and have a trading sim or some backtesting program. Okay, so we're not sure. It's okay. So let's get into this quickly. So you find your support, which is a moving average. You find a hammer. Now, let's take this support of the 500 of the 200 on the 5 out. If this is really at pre-market lows, and then you combine that with the moving average support, and then you get this hammer with increasing volume like this, and then you get the break of the hammer, and you get your 1 minute chart, which here you have a nice buying opportunity at the, not buying opportunity, you have nice buying happening at the low of this day with big volume. The setup is legit. I actually like the setup, Lucas. All of those things combined, you've really got to have the pre-market level in here though. If that's true, I really, really like it for all of the other reasons you added in. Now, you didn't note the volume, but because of this volume... Oh, shoot. 30 seconds left. I especially like it. So the thing about your only being a 1.4 to 1, when you enter in and you lose 10 to 20 cents in slippage, and you enter out and you lose 10 to 20 cents in slippage, you now have 20 to 40 cents that you've missed out on because of the bid and ask and the spread, and thus it's so much harder to get the risk to the reward if you're not aware of it. Man, I gotta go faster so I'm not rushed. Thank you, Peter. So Lucas, does that make sense, buddy? Yeah, you always gotta have an eye on the spread. You really should never enter into a trade, honestly, Lucas. And I know you're new, so no problem. But don't enter into the trade if you don't know the spread. That's just not a smart thing to do. And it's a very easy thing to get accustomed to. Should never do it. This is Oliver. And then Kurt. Alright, we get Kurt to brag. I don't even need to see this trade, and I'm going to think it's a braggadocious trade. But let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, first trade. Oh, and guys, I just want to make sure you are 100% aware, because someone commented or said something to me. I did nothing about the hotkeys. I didn't create them. I didn't even promote them. Kyle created them off the basis of another member before him and with the help of DOS. And then Robert really promoted them and got them popularized. All I did was make a video after I found them to be very valuable because no one else was making a video. And so I was waiting and no one did it. So that's all I did. So I want to make sure you guys, when you give credit, it's to Kyle, to DOS, and to Robert, not to me. Just FYI. Alright. So. Who's... Oh, Peter.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Peter. This is Oliver. Are you here, Oliver? Exactly, Lexi. Perfect way to say it. That's my favorite. Alright, so what are you thinking, Oliver? I might have missed what you said earlier. Type it again. ABCD on the first trade. So we're thinking, are you saying this is an A, B, C, D? Is that what we're saying? Okay. And then, is this a short add in stop out? Am I getting that right? Is this a short then? You flip your position, you add to your short position, and you get stopped out fully? ORB short, add in, stop out. Okay. Traders, what do you guys think about this A, B, C, D setup? Actually, I'm going to make this bigger. What do you guys think about it? You didn't see it? Or no, I mean, what do you mean you didn't see it? I'm talking about now. Maybe you didn't see it live, but this ABCD setup. Alright, I keep forgetting names. Oliver, how long have you been trading? About 5 months. And now, is this sim or real, Oliver? Alright, have you ever traded live or not? Or are you 100% sim? Okay, awesome. I'm just gonna say it how it is, man. Great job being in sim. That you're doing it right until you find yourself consistently, or you go to live with very, very small risks, like $3 or $5 per trade if you just want to feel the emotions. But this is not a good ABCD pattern. Let's just say it how it is. And that's why I wanted everyone in the room to say what they thought, so you know it's not just coming from me. You want to get into trades where when you show other people, Oliver, they're all agreeing with you, even if it fails. They like the idea. Okay, that's the killer type of trade. You're trading against a potential nasty wick on the 1, 2, 3, 4th candle. You are saying just because there's this 1 minute high and it's above VWAP, that this gigantic pullback doesn't matter, that this gap down is going to fill, that this moving average doesn't matter, and that anything else in terms of overhead resistance that might be on the pre-market that you might be looking at is not going to matter, right? When you have a 5 minute go into an ABCD on the 1, go into so much resistance on many different time frames, or just the idea of a big gap down with a big wick that's happening, you can let that one pass, Oliver. You can let it pass. You don't need to have FOMO if you miss out on it. You'll be like, yep, I don't want to trade an ABCD on the 1 minute against a daily, against the 15, against a gap down, against nasty news, against a giant gap nonetheless. You follow me, Oliver? You can happily let that trade pass without you. You can be happy with it. Yo, Peter. I was done, buddy. Ha.
All right. So can I ask you guys, what pattern that we talk about does this look like? Because I took this trade. Eldon, put your trade in the off-topic tab. So, yeah, JD, T-Spangs, exactly. Like this to me was a rising devil. So, Oliver, the reason why we would call it that is that there's a couple of factors that go into it before even the open, right? So it's gapping down on the day. And when it's gapping down, as William was articulating, you're looking at that. And when it does this sudden pullback at the open, you know, that's when you have an opportunity for it to continue. You're looking for it to continue the trend. So when we talk about a rising devil or a fallen angel, they're opposite patterns. A fallen angel is something that's moving up. It's gapping up on the day, but then it has a pull back into the open, so it pulls down, and then it goes back up to continue the move. A rising devil is the opposite, where it's moving down into the open, and then it shoots up, and then continues. So I took this at 790 short. It didn't turn out to be a great trade because it didn't really go anywhere for a long period of time. But you know, I got a 30-cent partial on it, and you know, I just sort of let it ride. But those are the things that you can to keep an eye on. So, all right, I took you over time.
Yeah, it's all good. We're good. We got, I think, about 4 trades and 20 minutes left. Yeah, Oliver, thanks for sharing. And Oliver, I mean, I just want to make sure to reiterate, we are not, in no way should you not share another trade that you took like this, right? It's a learning experience for you, and it's a learning experience for everyone, and it's a great, great thing to share. For the people that only share their good trades, that's not helpful. It's helpful in some ways, but it's not helpful in other ways, where then people are scared to share trades that don't always work out. And I don't think we have that issue, but I never want to have that issue also. So please don't feel anxious about sharing bad trades. It's very, very helpful. All right, now Kurt, let's see if this is the braggadocious trade. Yep. I know it. He already sent this to me on a personal message. So, all right. I mean, it's a killer trade. First of all, are you here, Kurt? I'm gonna give him about 5 or 10 seconds. Yeah. Do you want to jump up and talk about it with a hard limit of 12:45? Hard limit, man. Or have you already talked about it with people? Okay, good. So I saw it too. So what I really liked about this trade, you guys, if you already talked about it, I'm not going to get into it, but an entry. Wait, Kurt. Why is it, tell me this really quick. Why is this 2 arrows right here? Was this an entry, stop out, entry, stop out? It's a partial fill, right? Isn't it an entry, 100% exit, and then a re-entry, and then a re-entry and a hold? Or am I wrong? Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. And 2 entries, 1 stop out.
Yeah, I think where you're seeing 2 arrows, it probably just filled them in 2 partials, and that's why it threw the 2 arrows in there,
Okay.
because it would have been moving pretty fast at that point.
Yeah, and it's done that to me too. I just wanted to make sure before I say what I loved about this trade is that he gets stopped out on the entry, then he re-enters. Now, who cares, right? That can be a revenge trade. That can be a stupid trade. That can be an emotional trade. That's not the good part. The good part is that it turned out not to be an emotional trade, because with an emotional trade and a revenge trade, it's incredibly hard to hold. Why is that? Someone tell me, why is it so hard to hold for this long if you're just trading emotionally and revenging? Yep, I don't care about that. I mean, I do care about that, Peter, but I mean, Kurt, but this is way more significant in my head, at least. Can anyone answer the question? And then I'll look at this. Yep. Bam. Nice little hammer rocket booster. To the moon, Kurt, to the moon. Right. Okay, so, but, right. Right, Art. Eagle Bear, you're super close. I mean, you've almost hit it on the head. But, so then what do you do? Like, right, what happens then? What's the outcome? Not even with the entry, right? You might second guess yourself, but you're still in it. But if you're second guessing yourself, Eagle Bear, and JD, if you're just trying to get back your losses, what do you do then? It's almost a guarantee. Right? So then, how does that materialize on the chart? Yeah, Miki. Yeah? Yeah, JD, there you go, right? It's because you don't trust it. You get back in, you're FOMOing, you're emotional, you're avenging, you just got stopped out, you're saying, oh, now it's going to go in my favor, I'm going to get back in, I want to get my money back. You do all those things, right, Peter? But really, the main thing is because you don't trust the trade. You don't trust it. It's not a valid trade. You will get out early, or you will partial out when you don't want to. You will not have an actual risk to reward if it's pure revenge emotional. This tells me that he had his setup, he got stopped out, the same indicators were revalidated for him to get back in, and guaranteed he would have got stopped out again if it went back down against him. But he held. He held and held and held. Now, I'm almost positive. Kurt, did you have a hard stop in the market because you're using Kyle's hotkeys? Could you have held like this? And I know you could have. Let's say it this way. Is it a whole lot easier to hold like this when you use those hotkeys and your stop is in the market so you don't have to micromanage and stare at the gosh darn thing? Right. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore the heck out of it because something might occur in the chart that you want to be aware of, right? But you hold because your stop's in the market. You don't have to be jittery, you don't have to overanalyze, and you just wait for your risk to reward to hit. Mario, not everyone uses hard stops either, right? You can totally do that. It's just a different style, not better or worse. You just need to find what fits your personality and then learn that that might not fit someone else's and not to get FOMO because someone else trades differently than you. Eagle Bear is definitely at the bottom. Yep, Seth. Yep. Over! Thanks, Kurt. And Raj, which trade do you want? They're not named. The BBBY trade? Oh, wait. Oh, I think you just uploaded it twice. Okay, you just uploaded it twice. Cool. Awesome, Raj. All right, buddy. You're Raj from Pasadena Meetup, right, man? Or not? Okay, got it. I thought so. I can picture exactly who you are. All right, so tell us, what are you doing here? Shorting BBBY at VWAP. Okay, got it. What else? Anything else? You should have covered, so you're saying right here, you could have covered or partialed out? At that place right there? Around 11. Oh, down here. Where's the double bottom on 1170? Are you saying that this is a double bottom? Okay. Peter, tell me, do you think that in hindsight, right now as we're looking at it, is a double bottom?
William, I believe the answer you're looking for is no.
And I guess that's all you need on Jeopardy. You just won. But if we've had a continuation question, explain your... That'd be sweet if on Jeopardy you had to explain yourself. Explain yourself.
I do have the 1 minute chart up for Bed Bath & Beyond here, and it's not really a double bottom either on the 1 minute. It's sort of. I mean, anyways, it's not really.
Yep. So no, explain. So why does someone think this is a double bottom, and why do you not think it's a double bottom? Oh, am I looking at the? You're looking. Yeah, I know, Seth. I know I'm on the 5. He's saying.
Well, I'm not sure I can answer. I'm not sure I can answer why someone thinks it's a double bottom. I mean, a double bottom to me requires a distinct hitting off of a level, a pullback from the level, and then a return to the level. That can't happen within a 1 or 2 minute time frame. There has to be some separation for it to actually be a double bottom, right? It has to hit, pull back a little bit, and then hit it again with a couple minute separation, because that sort of demonstrates the battle has to play out. Otherwise, it's really just sort of a V bounce. And there's validity in V bounces, but they're tricky. They're really hard to play.
Right. So Raj, that's what I just wanted to focus on this. I mean, killer entry, VWAP short on a stock that, look at this, is making lower highs. It's waving down. It's under VWAP. It's come back up. So your entry is spot on. Killer. Really killer, man. But this is not a double bottom. So not a significant thing, man, right? I just want you to know that if you think that you should have profited out here and thus in the future you're trying to use this idea as a double bottom for something, it just isn't the type of double bottom that we talk about in terms of having a big bounce up. Yep, it kind of happened right here and it ended up being the low, but it's not a classical, typical type of double bottom where everyone would be in agreement that that's a double bottom.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the broader chart too, to something Eagle Bear was bringing up. If you look at a 5 minute expanded or a 15 minute chart, there was another bottom at this level pre-market, but the pullback was way too significant. So a double bottom implies that it's sort of that bounce, but there's a broader move above it, which then creates the bottom. If you look at BBBY, sure, it hit a bottom and spiked way up. It came back down to that same level, but it's not really that full pattern that indicates a reversal. A double bottom is a reversal pattern, right? It shows that the general trend is reversing. Now, in this case, you certainly saw the price start to move up after that, but I think we're cautioning you only because if it most likely will not play out that way if you see this pattern again another time, right? You may be using false signals.
All right, so you guys see that double bottom right there? Like, that's a type of double bottom. Not saying it's a good one, but you see it goes down. It's got classic W, hits that same level again after losing the middle here, coming back down to retest it. Makes the new high, comes up. I am not saying this is a good trade for a long whatsoever. Doing one thing on one 5-minute candle setup, one 5-minute chart is not how I think, it's not how I'm analyzing this chart, but that's more of a W double bottom. So, Raj, does all this make sense, man? Right, it could be. You could say this is an A. You could say this is a B. You could say this is a C. This would be the D though, right? Once this happens and it held, this is hard to say it's an A. If you're using candles, B, and then, or this is the C somewhere in this range, and then back down here for a longer one. On a 15-minute chart, it probably looks cleaner for an ABCD. But on a 5-minute chart, this would be the play. It doesn't break down D, and it comes back up. Seth, yeah, you can have higher. So Seth, you can have it to the penny. You can have higher lows. Some of my favorites though, Seth, is when it breaks down. It loses it. And then instead of making a bearish candle down, that candle turns out to be a long wicked candle, hammer, stopping out everyone and then reversing. So I really think that you can have all three, and all of them have different reasons why they can be very interesting. And nothing works 100% of the time. Right, now that's another thing that I noticed also, Anne. A nice increase in volume and a complete stop, and for it to come back up right there, it's interesting. It's just not a typical double bottom, that's all. Thank you for sharing, Raj. And overall, again, awesome entry, awesome patience. We got stuck on this double bottom, but really look how long you held that for, man. That is a great, great entry with great patience. And I guess mainly I was just saying, don't beat yourself up. You should have partialed down here at the low of day at 1170. Nah, man. That's incredibly hard to do. You got a great move with a lot of patience. JD, are you here, buddy? If someone's here can answer Hudden Popova's question in the off topic, please do. JD and then Eldon, I'll get to you just because, I think it's your first one that I've seen. Alright, JD. Alright, you got the 1, the 2, the 5, 30, 15 daily. Okay. I was looking for a okay, JD, perfect. Who traded this? Who was the first trade? I think it was Lucas? No. It was Oliver. Are you still here, Oliver? All right, Oliver. Now, JD, how long have you been trading for? Over a year. You see, now you're a newer trader, Oliver, which is why you're here trying to get better. Look at this. You're waiting for an ABCD pattern, Oliver, and instead of people agreeing with you, which, you know, there's a ton of traders doing a ton of different things, but this is just a prime example for you to see while you're waiting for an ABCD setup, someone's trying to scalp this big move down. Let's see what he was doing. I was looking for a pop at the open, then the sell-off, right? You're trying to catch an ABCD off this daily chart, where JD is trying to say, I'm going to expect the pop open for the profit takers and then wait for the sell-off. He's completely thinking about this 100% different than you. He might be wrong, but now you guys are in conflict with each other. Use the wick for my share size to take a small position. Okay, stop. Enter in here. Bear flag setup. Yeah, I see the bear flag setup. Entry was a little late due to SSR. Oh, this is on SSR. That's tough. Got it. Engulfing crack. Cha-ching. Engulfing crack. I'm looking at other things. PCG. Let me close that so I can see over here. Oof. Engulfing crack. Okay, so JD, are you sure that there wasn't a reason for this early exit? Are you sure that you didn't think the same thing after your great entry that, oh no, 1 minute high? That's exactly where Oliver entered. Could that have been the reason that you exited early, that there was a reason? Was it the 1 minute high? Got it. So do you think it had nothing to do with that 1 minute high candle break? Okay, got it. Got it. So right here where you're going long, basically, I mean, let's say not going long, when you're placing your buy order is the same time that Oliver is placing his buy order on his A, B, C, D setup. And so for you, Oliver, you guys are both placing buy orders. You're trying to go long, he's stopping out, but it's the same thing, it's a buy order. So, JD, I love your trade, man. Because of the daily, because you waited for the pop-up, because you then had your wick. I get it, right? SSR kind of screwed you up and the late entry, which then threw off the trade management ability. But besides that, that's a fantastic... You're using multiple time frames. You're using the overall price action. You're having patience. And most importantly, you're having a plan going in. Did you have a daily bias, JD? And did that daily bias... That's so funny, Peter, I have to hear myself. Did that daily bias help you make a successful trade? Exactly. Now, daily biases can be wrong, but if you go into the trade with a game plan that's using your daily bias from understanding where bulls and bears are and what could happen, killer. Absolutely everyone. Absolutely great, JD. All right, that's time's up. We have now Final Jeopardy bonus round because I cannot skip over Eldon. That's just can't be happening.
All right, just before you get to that, we'll absolutely do that. No reason not to. Guys, just a reminder, we do have a lifetime member webinar tonight. So if you're a lifetime member with Bear Bull Traders, we've got a specific Q&A webinar with Kurt and myself, and I'm sure we'll have a couple other moderators there, where we'll be answering your questions. If you want to submit a question, it's not too late. You can do that in the forum. And the link is in the chat room here. Just click on that, and we'll bring you to the posting thread for the questions. And as I said, hopefully we'll see you there. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern, so that's market time, 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Central, whatever time zone you're in. It's in 4 hours from now. So hopefully you'll join us there. And then we're going to finish the trade review now here with William. We will do a... encore presentation of the epic rap battle, and then we'll be done for today. So, off you go.
Thanks, Peter. All right, Eldon. So, what are you thinking here, buddy? Facebook. I'm thinking long, stop out long. profit, long, stop out, long, stop out. Long, stop out, long, profit, long, stop out, long, stop out, long, stop out. Is that about right, Eldon? And post in the main chat, not the off topic for me. No, it's fine. It's fine. So it's really nice. I know you're newer here, so if you can later, I posted if you can post a screenshot with maybe a little description of what you were doing somehow, that it's very helpful. So let's just go over your first 2 trades maybe. What are you thinking here? Stop out, and here for the profit. Thanks. What was your setup thinking here? I mean, it looks pretty much you're trying to go long for the breakout of momentum and put your stop right here at the low of this candle or at the new 5-minute low, bar by bar. Okay, so you had a daily level. So Eldon, in the future, again, if you're using a daily level, I like it a lot. Please try to screenshot that daily level so we can see it, so we can all see it together and talk about it. So, right, well, it depends. What was your strategy here? I see that you had a daily level, but that's not a setup. It's just having a daily level, which is good. That's really fantastic, number one. But what was your trade idea here? And if you just say price action, that it's going to go higher, that's fine. You can say that. I just want to make sure we're all understanding what you were seeing. Got it, Eldon. So when I look at this, and I could be wrong, but it looks like price action trading, where you're stuck on this chart, and you're not waiting for valid setups. You're waiting to look for price action indicators. You go long, you stop out. 6 minutes later, you think it's going to hold, and it makes like a new 1 minute higher, this candle right here, and you go long. Great trade. Then you go long again on a pullback. Gets stopped out, then you think it's going to hold again, and you go long, and it gets stopped out. So my guess is you're mostly using the 1 minute chart. Maybe 80 to 90% of your reasoning is staring at the 1 minute chart on these areas for your actual entries. You might have a daily bias, and you might like the uptrend, which is clearing an uptrend, which is why you continue to go long. But are you really just staring at the 1 minute chart for new highs and new lows? Or not? It looks like that, and this looks like a pullback to the 9, made the new high. So again, without seeing all the other charts and just for the running out of time, just be very mindful when you focus a lot of your attention on the 1 minute price action. It can be very, very difficult and extremely simple to get stopped out. And once you get stopped out 1 or 2 times in the course of maybe 1 to 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, sometimes it can be really difficult then to make smart setups, and that's what we want to do. If we want to make every setup independent of the last setup, it's very difficult to respect that idea when you're trading off the 1 minute, because there's a lot of emotions that can get involved, and not for everyone, right? But for a trader that's hasn't found a ton of success off the 1 minute, it can be very, very powerful in leading to trades that you might want to get back if you could. So just be mindful of that, Eldon. Because I know, right? I talked with you, I emailed you, I talked with you on LinkedIn, I met you in New York, and so I'm aware of some things. And so just be very, very aware. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing, though. All right, thanks, YouTube. We're going to cut this off. We'll do the next trade review next Tuesday. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day and week. Hold on.
Thanks, everybody.